4 sets. He had 17, I think, in 5 sets last night. Talking about how important that was.
Well, again, it was huge for us because, again, as I mentioned last night, you know, whenever you're playing, you know, these great teams that you face in the tournament, it's tough the way it is. You can't afford to have a lot of unforced errors. You really have to make the other team earn every single point. And for our hitters, I thought overall they did a nice job again of just making good decisions and not forcing things that weren't there. You know, and it's tough to do when you get blocked a couple of times. You know, you want to try a little harder, you try to make it a little bit better, and then you miss, and you know you're in the net and out of bounds. And I think a lot of that goes back to, and again, I think Molly did a really nice job in distributing, and you rely on your setter a lot to try to put your hitters in good positions to get good looks, and I thought she did that really well all night, which again kind of went back to, I thought, passing from start to finish was fairly consistent. We had some ups and downs, but again, I thought our hitters did a nice job of making good choices.
Turns out it wasn't a problem at all, but just with last night's match going to 11 and kind of getting classic in front of that great crowd. What was the worry on your part that just kind of coming out, only a couple hundred fans in the stands, just seeing the potential?
I mean, that was probably more than anything, you know, in terms of technical or tactical things, you know, involved in the match. That to me was our biggest concern, was just, you know, trying to emotionally bounce back from that last night. And I knew, you know, that thought occurred to me last night. You know, at one point during that match, I was, you know, somebody's going to win this and have to come back tomorrow at 4 and play, and it's going to be hard for either team. And so that was a big concern for us. And so, I mean, and I, you know, a number of times during that match, you know, during timeouts, I you know, kept really challenging our group, you know, to you know, for short of a better way to put it, you know, suck it up, you know, and tough it out. And at one point, I had to refer back to practice, and I said, you know, I'm seeing the same looks sometimes I get in practice when it's towards the end of practice. Everybody wants to go home, they're tired, you know, they're hurt, they don't want to be here. And I thought, you know, you've got to make a choice. You can either, you know, let it go here and use that as your excuse on the bus ride home, or you can suck it up and you can, you know, try to tough it out and be mentally tough and do it. And fortunately, I think they chose the latter, and they had enough left in them to do that.
Are you talking mostly about the third set, early in the better part of the, you guys are down 21-17?
Yeah, I mean, it's just like theirs kind of, like you said, it's kind of slipping away, and that's when I really kind of felt like, you know, it was almost that feeling where, you know, you read about people, you know, and Jules is, you know, going to give me a hard time about this one, but you know, it reminded me very much of the whole, you know, you're drowning. You know, and you read about how it's, you know, at some point you get that, I can't do it anymore, and it would be so easy to just give up and go under, you know, and let it go. And I thought, you know, at that point you separate, you know, the survivors from those that don't make it, and that was kind of what happened. I felt at that point in time is we were at that danger zone where we were ready to just slip under and go away, and fortunately we kind of picked it up and we got a little bit more of a spark. And then, you know, they came, and that happens a lot of times when you make a couple of big plays, and we had those 2 big blocks, I think were big momentum changers for us, and that just got some adrenaline going again, and it got us over the hump.
What did you see from Lisa on that career night? I mean, coming into the year, there was some uncertainty with Rosa not being able to play and bringing in a bigger group.
Well, you know, for Lisa it was big, and that's kind of been the story for us the second half of the season. Is we found a way to get more people involved, and I think when you've got somebody like that that's there, that really hasn't been a focal point of the offense for most of the time. And I think you see that in a lot of situations when you start to get into playoff type atmosphere. A lot of times, you know, you see the stars, you know, end up kind of canceling each other out. You know, the big players, you know, when it all comes down to it, a lot of times what separates the winning team from the losing team is somebody like that has a big night. And tonight it was Lisa for us, and I thought again Molly did a great job of finding her, and Lisa did a great job of coming through when we went to her. But I think you see that a lot in these kind of playoff type games, is somebody that, you know, it's one of those unsung heroes that steps up and has the big game that often is the deciding point.
I guess you just lastly, you just put it in perspective. I mean, going to the tournament 8 years.
Well, you know, I think for this group, this is really special for me because, you know, I'd have to honestly say that at the beginning of this season, you know, if I was thinking of this group in terms of a Sweet 16 type team, I mean, I have to honestly say that, you know, I wasn't thinking, you know, Sweet 16. I'm thinking, okay, we need to make the tournament with this group. If we work really hard and really focus on what we need to do, I think we got a shot and we can do it. So for this group, you know, to really pull it together and really commit themselves and do what they have to do to get to this level, to me, that's what really makes it special. It's one thing to have, you know, a team that everybody projects at the beginning of the season. You know, this is a great squad. We should go deep in the tournament. But for this group, who really kind of came out of nowhere in many respects to make this happen, makes it really, I think, all the more special for these kids.
Anything else, Coach? All right.